I'm done, I have nothing to lose. I had a really good job before I came here, but I didn't feel fulfilled. And I knew that I wanted to do more. When you're like destined for more, you just don't know what that is. You go find out. I came in thinking, oh, everybody's great and everybody's nice. And then you find out that not everybody's like that. And there are people that are trying to get you. It seems like it's gone a little more dangerous. I often hear about murders and stuff. And no matter what, I believe that nobody should stay in the same environment their whole life. There's only so much you can learn from being around the same people in the same place.
Get outside of your bubble.
Get outside of your bubble. Don't get too comfortable. I feel like I'm having a life now.
Alex, welcome to the studio. It's really good to have you. As far as I know, you grew up in Canada and then decided to embark on this adventure and this journey abroad to Costa Rica and then to Paraguay. What's the story in a nutshell? You grew up in Canada and then you decided to move abroad. So like why? Like what was your big why of starting this process, I guess?
Well, actually, like I grew up in Lebanon and then my parents brought us to Canada, and Canada is a great country, but I didn't think that it was really my place. It gave me a whole lot of opportunities. And at the time, like I had finished my studies and I was wanting to be a dentist and everybody's best friend.
Yeah, right. Everybody loves a dentist.
Everybody loves a dentist. Yeah. And I was working on that. I was studying and I was working so I can go to dental school.
Why dentist? Like what drew you to that kind of, profession? Because I guess it's pretty specific for most people. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I like
teeth, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was fascinated by teeth. No, actually, I just always wanted to be my own boss. Like ever since I was in school, the one thing that I really wanted to do, because I knew that I was sort of a workaholic, I didn't want to get into business. That was my thought. Now I am in business.
Right.
At the time, I was really strong in sciences and art, and I was really good at one-on-one with people. And I really wanted to do something that had sort of a set schedule where like I'll work in the morning and I'll be done, by 4 or 5, and then I'm off and I can do my own thing. I can be with, have a family and all that, and not be so constricted to working 24/7, because usually whenever I was working in corporate, that's what I was doing. I was just taking my work home with me and just constantly working. I didn't want that. I wanted something that was set schedule and allowed me the freedom, and I wanted to be my own boss. And then I wanted to at some point, have my own clinic and then have other clinics, just grow into that and then work 4 days a week, and then maybe at some point like retire and let it sort of run itself. Like that's always the dream, where you want to spend more time with family than you do at work. At least for me it is, and I know for a lot of other people. And unfortunately, I couldn't do that. I was working really hard to get there. I had the grades, I had the interviews and everything. I had got into a few schools, but unfortunately, when it came time to actually go there, I couldn't get the financial resources to pay for that school. So around that time is a lot of things were going kind of south in my life. So I had to let go of the career dream, or the dream career.
Right.
And I was just ending almost a decade-long relationship with my ex, lovely man, but didn't work out. And I was working at a job that was basically not my career. It was in corporate, not my thing. It was more so what I was doing to make money to be able to get to the next step. And it was quite exhausting. I was overworking and I was pretty much burnt out. So nothing was really going the way I wanted to. So it was time for me to sort of just make a shift, right? And I wanted to start from zero. I had actually on the side, I was taking, I started taking yoga lessons. It makes me laugh because I actually did the yoga training, yoga teacher training, and then I never taught yoga. But that was sort of the start for me to sort of do like a mind shift, like to change my worldview, basically. That's sort of where I started to realize that what I was doing, or who I thought I was, wasn't really who I was. And all these things that I was trying to do in life weren't exactly me. So I had to sort of get out of that environment and go elsewhere and figure it out. But at the time I was also starting to get into the idea and the understanding that we weren't here to just work all the time, and just wanted to get out of that whole rat race and go somewhere. And then about a year before, my best friend actually went to Costa Rica.
Mhm.
So she
That's
was
how it
sort
came into
of,
the picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wasn't really thinking Costa Rica. I was just like, hey, let's go to, I'm in Costa Rica. I'm loving it here. Why don't you, like, you want to change? Why don't you just come to Costa Rica? And I said, I was kind of anxious about it at first. I was resistant to the idea because I had my mind set on the things I wanted to get done. What am I going to go do in Costa Rica? Like,
Right, right.
what skills am I going to go take there? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I can teach yoga. I had also started learning about holistic nutrition. So I was like, you can always do something there because there was a big community of spiritual people and people who are like health conscious and all these things. So it's like, oh, you can always do something there. But what I really, really wanted was to take a break.
Right. Right.
So
So I guess we can kind of say that you always had this image in your mind about the life you wanted when it comes to that independency with your time and not working 24/7 and have a family on the side.
yeah,
And you had certain things in Canada that you used to build up this life, but then it didn't work out.
it
So then
didn't work
so then
out.
you felt that you need to go abroad to try to rebuild that dream in a different country, or is that something?
It was more or less that.
More or less.
Like, I really just wanted to get out of the funk that I was in there.
Yeah.
It was pretty dark times when
Right.
everything was sort of falling apart. And I was also trying to figure out who I was at that
Mhm.
point, because when you attach your identity to what you do
Mhm.
and what you study and, in a certain environment, and that all like shatters, your whole identity shatters, or you try to figure out who you are. So it's like, okay, I need a break. I need to step away from where I am. And I know there's this thing they say, you can't heal in the environment that broke you, or something like that.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I'll go to a new environment. And I had this great idea of like, I didn't really have any expectations, but like, I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna live a more simple life.
Right.
It's gonna be relaxed, and I'm just gonna heal, right? Heal,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
Sure.
So that was it. And at the time, Costa Rica was actually, a lot of people were going to Costa Rica.
Yeah, it was a very, very, very popular
Big thing.
destination. For
Yeah, I think this was in, I want to say 2017, 2018, around that time, when this whole thing kind of started. And at the time, Costa Rica was actually one of the safest countries, or known as the safest countries in Latin America. And I love Latin America. So it only made sense that Costa Rica would be the first place. Once it got introduced to me. So I said, okay, great, we'll go there. I have a friend there. We can figure out what to do there, but I just wanted to relax. And, it's safe. A lot of people are there. And I don't know if you believe in this and everything, but there's something about Costa Rica on the map being one of like the really high energetic centers.
Okay.
So I figured it's a nice place to go and heal also.
Okay.
And you're in the nature. So I was looking forward to that. So finally I decided, okay, you know what? I'm just going to sell all my things, grab my backpack and go and see what happens. So
And this was at the age of, when was this?
Right before my 30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like 29,
Yeah,
8-ish. Okay.
Yeah.
It's quite a big leap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I had
Considering-
tried everything else. I was
Sure.
working on that dentist thing for like over 10 years, I would like study 1 year, work 1 year, study 1 year, work 1 year, and get all the things I need to get done in order to get there. And it didn't work out. It was not fate.
Right.
Yeah.
Like life pushed you out of Canada.
Life pushed
kind
me
of.
out. Yeah.
And like, okay, so you sold everything and you packed your bags and you landed in Costa Rica for the first time. So like, and you step out the airport and like you smell the air and stuff like that. Like, what was it like? Like, like this, did you feel this like new beginning and you were very, very like hopeful of what awaits you there, or what was it like?
Yeah, it was
The
actually,
first impressions, right?
I was really excited. What was my first impression? I can't remember when I got off
Fair
the
enough. I mean,
airplane, to be honest.
it was a while. Like,
But I
yeah.
do remember being excited when I got to my first Airbnb, and the person there introduced me to some of the typical foods, and it was so good.
Okay.
One thing about Costa Rica is they have really good food,
Uh,
really great fruits. That was my first thing. It was really good.
like food. Like
Yeah, the food was
that
really
was it.
good. The heat was great because I left. I think I left in February or March, and it was already like it was still really cold in Canada.
Mhm.
So I was just happy to see the sun, to wear a tank top and be in like 30-degree weather.
Yeah, well, yeah,
One of the reasons why I came to Paraguay too.
it's a pleasant climate, definitely more
Yeah,
pleasant climate.
yeah.
Okay. So if food captured your liking. But what about like the culture there? I mean, obviously, like I think regardless of which country you go to, especially the first year or the first couple of months seem to be this very it's like a start of a good relationship, you know, like it's very positive and uplifting and like
Yeah, the honeymoon
yeah
phase.
the
The
honey
honeymoon
like
phase.
pings and ping cloud and unicorn they're like you feel really like energized. I feel well, I don't know, that's how I felt when I moved to a different country. I don't know how it was for you,
Yeah.
but yeah, what was your first impression, you know, of the people, of the place, of the country, of the opportunities?
Oh no, I had a great time. I
Right,
mean, the
right.
first few days were in San Jose, and I was actually living about 3 hours away, southwest.
Uh-huh.
So on the Pacific coast. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Pacific coast. In Quepos
Hmm.
and that area. And so just the fact that I was living on the beach
Hmm.
was just it for me.
Hmm.
And I was living in this really cute, like on a really cute property where the monkeys would just be on the trees every morning, and like
Okay.
it was I really really enjoyed it. I love the fact that it seemed like it was safe. I didn't have any issues. My friend was close by, and we would just hang out. We would go to the beach and everything. It was very chill at the
Hmm.
time, but the funny thing is that like I went there to relax and to heal,
Right.
but because I was so used to doing a lot and being like working and stuff, like the first few months, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Mm.
So I would sit there and I'd be like, what can I do? Like, what do I
Right.
do with this? Now you're actually forced to sit with yourself and figure your shit out,
Mm.
basically. But I just remember feeling this like a buzz, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what do I do here? I gotta find something to do. And so I started looking for work, not necessarily like a full-time job, but I started with helping people because we were in a small community there too of like certain influencers that we knew at the time. And they needed help with editing, or they needed help with their YouTube or
Hmm.
whatever. And then from that, I actually started doing property management, like Airbnb management for one of them as well. And that later on, which we could talk about later, ended up with me opening up a hostel. And so
Right.
it was like all these different things. But at the beginning, it was great.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just, I had no expectations. That's the thing. It's sort of like, I just know that I don't want to be here. Let me see what's there, kind of thing. So I got there and I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. And I think sometimes you just sort of have to take the risk. I'm a bit of a risk taker. So it's like, just go and see.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, you can always go back to your parents.
True.
But yeah, it was really exciting.
Yeah. So,
I
so, so I guess it seems like you went there with this specific thing in mind when it comes to like healing and self-reflection.
Yeah,
And
just the
yeah,
transport.
to leave Canada, but Canada didn't leave you. Like it appears to be so, right? Like I guess we carry on our habits regardless of where we go in the world. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't just like leave it behind.
yeah.
But then at the end, it led you to a new opportunity when it comes to
It did, exactly.
working and
And
business.
I think that's the thing, because there's like a balance of like, often people say, aside from, okay, you can't heal in the place that broke you, like go elsewhere. It's very important to go somewhere else
Hmm.
just to get another environment, especially if you're surrounded by the right people.
Yeah.
Yes, it can help you grow, but also from others people's experience and my own, if you're taking your shit to a new place, you're still with that shit. So like first, change your environment because it does help.
Hmm.
Because the people who are there to influence you, the fact that you're away from certain things or certain people or certain habits or certain lifestyle, like you're changing your lifestyle, that's helpful. And you're sort of, if you're away from everything you knew, you have more space to grow into something different, basically. And so that's a good container for expansion, if that makes sense. But at the same time, you have to actually use that in order to change whatever needs to be changed from within. Because if you don't change what needs to be changed from within, then you've done nothing. You're still with that shit. So,
Okay, so you're saying that leaving the environment is kind of essential for you.
it's like an initiator to
Okay.
the transformation process.
Okay, but do you feel it's like a guarantee that
It's not a
it's
guarantee.
not
That's
okay,
what I'm
okay,
saying.
okay.
You have to do the work.
Right.
It's just a little easier when you detach from everything you've known before. Sometimes, not for everyone, but sometimes it is better to be somewhere else, away from the things that maybe held you down or maybe gave you the bad habits or whatever it is. And you're basically getting to know yourself again somewhere else. You know, I don't know. It gives a little push.
Right. So
do
it kind of
something different.
enhances your capability to be able to move on when
Yeah.
you change your environment,
Yeah,
basically.
that's how it's been for me. I feel like every
Right.
time I've gone somewhere, I've transformed in a way or become different. Of course, there are still things that, I still need to work on and they're still the same as before, but like
Right.
a lot of things changed. And like you also get different opportunities that maybe you didn't have before. You meet certain people, like I've met my mentors, I've had opportunities like business opportunities that it maybe wouldn't have had there. And so it's the whole different playing field basically that pushes you to grow or pushes you even maybe to look inwards more because now you have the time, you have the space, there's no distractions, the old distractions. So it is very helpful to get away to do that, but it doesn't do anything if you don't do the work while you're in the new environment. So if that makes sense.
What is that work?
Well, basically like self-reflection, figuring out what are the things that have held you back, what are your limiting beliefs, how you've held yourself, how I've held myself back by myself with my own reasons, beliefs that I thought that I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that, or I wasn't good enough for this or that. Or even the biggest thing for me actually was the way I was living in Canada, which was at the time a lot of people were living, is whatever society teaches you, whatever your family teaches you, whatever the government tells you, whatever your teachers tell you, etc.
You
And
stand in
so,
line.
yeah, and so you have a certain idea of what life is or what you're expecting to live, basically. And then when you go elsewhere, and not necessarily, but like you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes when you go into a different environment where you see that a certain different lifestyle is possible.
A quick aside. Most people think they're safe online just because they have a strong password and haven't been hacked yet. Turns out your password has nothing to do with what happens to your traffic on public Wi-Fi, which is why personally, every single time when I'm working in a cafe or a hotel or an airport lounge, I'm running NordVPN. NordVPN encrypts your connection so that nobody on the same network can see what you're doing, who you're talking to, or intercept your data. They have over 9,300 servers across 137 countries, while they've also been named the #1 VPN in 2026. I even forgot that it's on, which is exactly what you want, and I can cover up to 10 devices on the same plan, which is very neat. Best of all, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked, so you can try it out for a full month, and if it's not really for you, just get your money back. Right now, you can get an exclusive deal by going to the link in the description below. Check it out.
It makes you want to push towards that lifestyle. Like when I was in Canada and they said, hey, go to Costa Rica and you could do whatever you want. I was like, what? No, like that doesn't make sense. I need a plan. Like what's going on here?
Okay.
What is possible? Because, if you want to do this, you need this certification, you need that experience, you need da-da-da. If you go elsewhere and then you see people who are living like a super, I don't know, it's hard for me to explain this.
Yeah, that's one question I want to ask you. Like, what did the culture there teach you? Because I guess it gave you like a different insight into what's possible when it comes to lifestyle or mindset? Because I'm sure Costa Rica people are very different from Canadian people.
Well,
Did
it
it give
wasn't
you
even.
like, or what was it that gave you that difference?
Okay, there's 2 points. First
Okay.
of all, Costa Rican people or Latin people or
Yeah.
whatever are not very different in culture for me because they remind me of Lebanese culture.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? So like
Yeah.
we are very big on family, very big on
Mm-hmm.
gatherings. Everybody knows everybody's business, which isn't always the best thing.
It's just different,
You know,
right?
it's very like community driven. In Canada is I find that a lot of us are a lot more isolated. Like we just go to work at home, have to deal with different things. Sometimes you're working and sometimes you have a side hustle and sometimes you have kids and like people don't really see each other's there isn't as much of a life
Mm-hmm.
as there is in Costa Rica or in Latin America in general. I don't know how it is in Europe.
I guess it's pretty
Is it
similar,
like
I
people kind
think.
of stay?
More, yeah, you have a more individualistic culture, I would say,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah,
So
less
so
communal, right?
So I like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I like that, and I usually wherever I go, I tend to mix with the culture too because it's like I'm not here just to be with other expats. Like I wanna, like I'm here to learn. I'm here to see what I don't see, but what I don't see where I used to live or whatever. But it reminded me a lot of like my own culture, basically.
Right.
So they have all of that. Like there's actually life. I mean, shoot, in Lebanon, it's like you could be working, everybody's overworked and like there's wars and whatever, and people are still getting together and still going out and still having a good time. And there's still that connection with family and friends and everything, which I feel we don't really have much in Canada, at least for me. So it gets a little depressing,
Yeah.
especially with the weather on top of that. But,
Right.
so there's that. So that's great. Of course, there are other things that aren't so great about the different culture, but when I say about what's really possible in terms of
What you don't know.
business and stuff and what
Yeah.
I don't know, it's more about like how I got into, like how I moved from Canada being like an employee for, obviously I wanted my own business at some point, like dentistry. But you move into Costa Rica, everybody was an entrepreneur, right? So it's like, oh, like I can live this different life. I can live life on my
I
own
see.
terms. I could do whatever I want, basically, that I didn't know was a possibility. On top of the fact that I ended up going through like the whole spiritual shift to like seeing the world differently and seeing myself differently and all of that. So I didn't know that I didn't know that. I didn't know these were possibilities. So sometimes you want to get out of this little hole that you're in and expand into a different world to see what's possible. So I'm a big fan of don't stay in one place for too long.
So would you say that the goal or the aim that you had before going to Costa Rica, when it comes to this, I guess, healing and spiritual change and all that?
Oh, I still got a lot of healing to do.
Yeah, I guess the process, like, you know,
sometimes.
right. But do you think it like you accomplished, like that place helped you accomplish what you set out to do at the time?
In a sense, it did, and in another sense, it helped me heal certain things, and then it helped me learn a whole lot more about myself. So in a way, that is helpful.
Okay.
But in another, it opened my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't even know needed healing. First of all, and second of all, that ended up traumatizing me a little bit more.
Okay.
So now there's more healing to do. No, but I think it was really good because, especially when I got into business, I'll say that I'm a bit, or I was naive, and I grew up a little sheltered. So one thing about getting out of where you grew up is that you get to see everybody else's worldview and mindset. So that was a big shift for me because like I came in thinking, oh, everybody's great and everybody's nice and everybody's got a good heart and I'm here to like help as much as I can. And then other people surely are like that. And then you find out that not everybody's like that. And there are people that are trying to get you and there are people like I wasn't expecting a lot of the things that I lived in Costa Rica. I wasn't expecting them to happen. And they mostly happened like in business. So when I opened up the hostel and everything, I thought it was going to be great. I had a little I had a little plan of like, because the thing where we were is like I noticed that a lot of people in the area were sort of coming kind of like party lifestyle.
Okay.
So they were going there to party, and I really wanted something that was like nice and quiet and tranquil for like people who are coming to, I don't know, be with nature or whatever,
Okay.
and meet other people that are like that. And
Wait, was it like cabins or was it like apartments? Like
it was
what?
yeah, it was little apartments.
Okay.
Yeah, on a really cute. I'll show you one day. A really cute property. But yeah, that didn't work out. Like, and it didn't last long because like of all the things that were happening, and me realizing that you can't really do business with everybody. You can't trust everybody. For example, um, one of the things when I was saying that you come in with a good heart thinking that you can help out, and then people sort of end up taking advantage, don't have the same
What?
well-meaning,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Right. So
the same well intentions,
yeah, intentions,
yeah,
yeah.
intentions. I noticed that a lot of businesses there, like when expats would come in and like maybe they'd open a restaurant or something, they would sort of like overwork locals, or they would underpay them or something like that. So one of like the biggest things for me was that I was going to be fair, and I was going to make sure to pay a little bit more and everything, like all of that. And then there would be certain people that were working for me that were they would want to take advantage, or like I would overhear someone be like, "Oh, she's from Canada," or I don't know why they thought I was from because I'm like from the Middle East or whatever. They
Right.
thought I was from like oil money or
Oh,
something,
right.
and they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
yeah.
like she has money," And because I learned Spanish while I was there, so I could understand what's going on. I was like, that kind of like messed me up a little bit because I was like, I'm over here trying to do good, and I'm expecting everybody to be the same, and so that yeah, it opened up my eyes that not everybody's the same, and definitely I'm proud to say that I'm not as naive as I used to be.
Yeah, I guess, it's something to learn, like anything, and especially even just the fact that, you go into businesses like fresh, like, like for the first
Yes,
time, like,
exactly.
of course, there's gonna be, like, I guess, problems or lessons to be learned. Like, that's just part of, the process of eventually being successful, right?
Exactly. No, it's helped.
Yeah.
It's helped because
Yeah.
if it wasn't like that, I wouldn't know the things I know today. I wouldn't be
Right.
who I am today. So really, sometimes drama equals a blessing.
Facts. Yeah, for sure.
Transformation.
Yeah. But actually, like, what's the point where because obviously you had, I guess, some kind of, dream with this Airbnb and apartment, like a vision, like a vision.
I had a vision,
Yeah,
yeah.
like where did that vision start becoming like, I guess, complicating or hard, or like where right at the
Yeah,
beginning, or just like it led to it, or
it led to it. I
okay.
think at first it was really exciting, and I realized also that because I was a rookie at business, I realized how important marketing is.
Right.
Because I didn't know about marketing. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna make this place super nice, and I spent like a couple of months just revamping the whole property basically. And I'm like, yeah, and people will come.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as many people that came because
Okay.
I didn't know like the marketing side of things and stuff, and so that sort of took a little while. And issues with the people that I was working with, like who can I trust? The people that I was hiring, maybe the landlord of the property and stuff like that. Like issues with those relationships made it a lot more complicated as well. And then at the time too, I think just realizing how that area for business isn't exactly the best business model too, because it's very seasonal.
Okay.
So like you got to be careful as to when you open, and because it's only a few months maybe that you'll be getting really high occupancy and stuff
Really?
like
So
that.
so you're like very dependent on the tourists in the season.
Yeah, it is a very small touristic town, and so I had to. And in that same year, there was a few businesses that closed down because of that. So I should have probably done better research on what I was getting into, but I was just too excited to start a new project.
course.
I've learned since then, I
Right.
research a whole lot more now, but it was the first time, and it was like really great, and it was good. Like I liked it as I was doing it. It was exciting, and it was a whole new thing, and But yeah, it did make it more complicated, just the type of people that I was surrounded by, that I realized that maybe I couldn't trust, and it really, really helped to lower my naivety.
So now with this mindset, like how would you do it different? Like for example, if someone, for instance, they want to do a similar business model, I don't know, like go to like a nice country and like start renting out, I don't know, cabins or apartments. 'Cause it still seems to be pretty popular, I guess,
Yeah, that's where you go.
amongst people. Yeah, what to look out for, especially I guess in Costa Rica,
Yeah, well, Costa Rica's actually changed quite a bit.
Mhm.
I don't know that I would advise someone to start a business like that there.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, I haven't like done too much research recently on Costa Rica, but I haven't. It's a lovely place. Like it's a beautiful place. Honestly, the jungle and the ocean and everything beautiful.
Mhm.
But when you're going, like when you go there, you just have to do a whole lot of research to where you're going to stay, do market research on that area, how well businesses are doing, what kind of model you're going to want to use, and everything. You also have to keep in mind that Costa Rica has changed quite a bit in the last few years.
In what way?
Like it's gotten a lot more expensive.
Mhm.
So if you're looking at, your overhead, it's going to be more than before. And there may be less tourists, I would think, just because the
expenses,
increases in the expenses. And it seems like it's gone a little more dangerous. Like I often hear about murders and stuff. And
Okay.
so it's in certain locations more than others, especially like the inner city and certain coast areas. But you want to do your research. Like just don't be like me and just
just go
blindly. Like go take a risk. Yes, take a risk. Go check it out. But like, don't start a business just for starting it. Like, do the research. It's just because for me, it was like this opportunity that was basically kind of handed to me, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. With me thinking I can conquer the world. There is work to do before you start anything, and I think it's always best to do your research, and most important of all, is to partner with people that you can trust. Because I did not.
How do you know that? Like how see that's like I guess the biggest question in business. Like how do you know? How do you know who to trust? Right.
You can either bring a partner that you already know that's not from there, or you establish really good relationships with the people that you meet there, and you get to see what kind of person they are, first of all, how they run their business, how they treat others and their business partners before you even start anything with them, obviously. Me, it was like, oh, okay, I kind of know this person. He seems nice. Yeah, I'll do business with him. I would never do that again.
So this time around, you would visit their business and like question their employees about the experience, or like what was?
I would spend enough time with them to like actually understand who they are as a person too, and what their like level of integrity is, what their work ethic is, especially integrity, transparency, all of that. Because yeah, you see them being kind of weird one day, or being kind of iffy in some sort of business deal with someone else. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that, because it would eventually happen to you, right? So, and also that like if you have friends there, you can ask who they're doing business with, and someone reputable. Or if you're in a community where everybody knows, like that's one thing I really love about Paraguay, is like we came here and we came into a community, like the Paraguay Pathways community. Everybody is, entrepreneurs, and everybody sort of knows each other, and like you can trust, and like because you can hold people accountable because you're all in the same community. So like if you do something like that makes sense.
And Costa Rica didn't have that.
No,
that kind of like community.
Not where I was.
Okay.
Not where I was. That's why like my experience here in Paraguay is so different from there, because there like I went on my own basically. I was with my friend for a couple of months, and then I did this whole thing by myself, and it wasn't like this big community there was like the expats in that area were basically there just to sort of escape their traumas, I guess, or escape their past or whatever, just to kind of go there and have a good time and enjoy the beach and whatever. It wasn't like an entrepreneur a spiritual led, whatever kind of community.
A quick aside. Most people who move abroad assume that their home country health insurance will cover them wherever they go, or that they'll eventually figure it out once they, worst case scenario, right, break their legs on a skiing trip or get stung by an nasty sea creature on their holiday. Which is why for the past few years, every time I cross the border, I make sure that my safety wing is active before I land. Safety wing is a global medical and travel coverage built specifically for nomads and remote workers. It covers you in over 180 countries for as low as $63 a month. It works like a subscription, so you can cancel anytime you want to, and there's no paperwork nightmare, and you can buy it even if you're already abroad. It covers emergency medical treatment, hospital stays, evacuation, travel delays, and lost luggage as well. They also have a complete plan which adds zero deductible dental, mental health, and preventive care too. Right now you can get started straight away by going to the link in the description below. Check it out.
Obviously, I didn't go to the right place.
Yeah, so it seems like Costa Rica seems to be the destination for escapism for many people in the West, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, well, again, not necessarily.
okay.
It just so happened that where I was.
Oh,
'Cause
so
it's
that
like a
part.
tiny,
Okay, I
yeah.
understand.
It was a very small
I understand.
town. There were people that were doing good work there, and in like neighboring areas and even closer to the city, there were like really great Nicola, where she was living in that area as well. There's a lot of like nice, very tight-knit communities of like spiritual people, entrepreneur people, like all of that. But where I was, wasn't the place.
Not as much.
It was basically I was on my own basically. So different experience for sure. It wasn't again, I didn't have any expectations at the time, so I just kind of rolled with it, but I would do it differently, yeah.
So you would even like research for that, like where are these like groups and communities that you can use to like help your case, I guess, to figure out what to do and how to do things.
Yeah, and like have a plan. Oh, this is hard to say though, because I'm saying have a plan to what you want to do, but also be open to the possibilities you don't know about.
I mean, there's a golden middle way there, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Where you're still flexible, but you have some plan. I guess that's
Exactly
a good thing.
Yeah. It's helped me become a lot less rigid. Like you have to be a lot less rigid with yourself. You have to be able to open up to different things, different types of people, and different types of cultures, and different types of opportunities, and just don't limit yourself. Because honestly, what I'm living right now, I never could have imagined like a year ago. So you never know. And even when I went to Costa Rica, I had no clue. Like I remember myself one day being at one of these retreat centers and just like chilling in the water in the sun, and I'm like, remember last year when you were so depressed? Like, this is beautiful. You never know. Like you never know. You just go and experience, but just make sure to keep an eye out for like danger or for people that may not have the best intentions in it. But that's anywhere in the world. That's not like Costa Rica or Paraguay or Canada or whatever. That's anywhere. So, just be smart.
Walk with open eyes, I
Yeah,
guess.
walk with open eyes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like with all this experience, if you would meet yourself that was about to go to Costa Rica, what would you advise yourself on? Because obviously I can understand, this mindset where yes, drama happens, but you learn from it and develop.
Exactly.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I kind of needed it, I think.
Yeah, of course. But still, if you could like still have that experience, but advise yourself on maybe making the process more seamless and I guess fluid when it comes to that, what would you say?
I definitely would be a lot more firm with my boundaries, personal and business. Yeah. I did take on some people that probably I shouldn't have taken on in the business, because it was like, oh, this is like my family, and then I don't charge them, or I don't I think at one point I gave up my apartment for someone just because they didn't have somewhere to go. Like, you have to be very like, yeah, I know. Well, it was like it was my old apartment. It was one of the apartments that I was renting out. So, like sometimes you do favors for people, but then they turn out to not be the best people. So you're like, oh, like why was I so soft-hearted or whatever? So in that sense, like one, very firm boundaries, personal and business. Two, research before you go. again, for me, I was going just to see just to start from zero, basically. So there was no plan. It was just me being open to the possibilities. Whatever happens, happens. But if you are going to another country to do something, like you have it in your mind that I want to start a business or whatever, do all the research, that more research than is needed. Like do extra research, be very, very particular and very exhaustive of the research, and talk to people who are there. And yeah, if you have somebody that's already there, it's easier for sure. If you're going by yourself, then go there first, check it out. Don't sell all your things yet. Go there, check it out, make real connections, and then go back and make your plans. But definitely research, marketing, boundaries, all of that.
And if you go there to check out the place, like obviously you're doing research there as well, you know, if you're serious about moving, I guess. But like how long do you think one needs to be able to like map out the possibilities there and actually take the decision of like, do I want to go there or not? Like how long does that take?
Oh, I might not be the best person to ask that because I jump in very quickly.
Sure. Okay.
Because I usually don't have anything to lose.
Right.
That's why I am like a different case.
Yeah.
Both times that I've left Canada has been because I have nothing to lose.
Right.
I know whatever is coming has got to be better than what I had.
Okay.
But if you are like, if you have a family, if you have a business already, if you have something elsewhere and you're not so sure, yeah, take a whole lot more time. Like it took me a week to a month to decide that, okay, I'm moving there. Like other people should take at least a few months of real digging in. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Don't be me.
Right.
Be me though. Be me if you're young, and be me if you're excited about opportunities and adventure.
What are the things that, in your opinion, people misunderstand about Costa Rica specifically, from, I don't know, US, Canada, Western Europeans?
In what sense? What would they?
In the sense that, I mean, I'm sure there's a certain image floating around when it comes to the country and its possibilities being such a popular destination as it is.
Yeah.
To many people, how much does that like reflect the reality of how it actually is? Is it more layered? Is there like a spectrum of experiences people are having there, living there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I really think so because like my experience is very subjective.
Yeah, I mean,
And again,
I guess all are.
And I wasn't there for very long, you know. I
Right.
was there for maybe 6 months.
Okay, yeah.
The
fair
first
enough.
time, went back to Canada for a few months, and then I went and stayed in Peru for a couple of months, and then I came back, and then I got introduced to like I went to an event for like a transformation type of event that was led by international conscious leader type of business people. And so I got to learn a lot. Like that's where I got that's where I met Nicola, actually, my mentor and business partner and all of that. So I came back, and then I did that, and then I opened up a business and like all these things. So it really is layered. Like if you're just going to be in a small town and a beach, then obviously you're going to see the people who are there to have a good time. If you're going to go into the city, you're going to see, you know, the people who are trying to do business. If you're it really just depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be the same like for everyone.
Yeah, but how is Costa Rica different when it comes to like for the people actually living there, as opposed to the people that only go there for a holiday and stay in the beach towns and stuff like that? Is there a difference at all, or
are not making as much money as you know one? I used to wonder how they lived because the food was pretty expensive. Like unless you're living on rice and beans and plantains and whatever, I felt like the food was pretty expensive. So if you're making a couple of dollars an hour, like I didn't know how they were doing that. But you know, plenty of people are doing well, so I must have missed something there. I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess it's probably in general like Central South America, people get by on less and still stay happy somehow. I don't know. It appears to be the trend, right?
They do. That was one of the reasons actually why I like what I had in mind is that I was going to go live a more simple life.
I mean, and then how did the transition happen to Paraguay? Why leave Costa Rica behind?
So I left Costa Rica behind because COVID hit,
Mhm.
and I wanted to go back home because we didn't know what was going on, right? And the business, I had closed up the business and everything because, like I said, that year there was a lot of businesses had closed, and all of a sudden also COVID hit. So it wasn't like the best time to be doing anything there.
Mhm.
And then I went back to Canada, and I ended up, I wasn't expecting to stay that long in Canada. So that's why the first chance I got to leave,
Mhm.
I left.
Yeah, actually, that must have been very, very weird, no? I mean, going back to the country where you kind of cut ties with, I guess, I mean, we can say that.
I've cut ties with now, for
Right,
sure.
right.
Like even legally, like
Mhm.
I've cut ties mostly. But one thing I realized when the first time that I went back to Canada just to visit is that I could feel how dense it was there. It's a weird feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like the energy was more dense. Like you can tell how everybody is sort of down and stressed and all of that. And I really enjoyed being in different countries where people were sort of more positive, more
Mhm.
happy, like having a life and everything. You could just feel the
Mhm.
difference. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I really like that. But anyway, so I ended up staying in Canada for a little longer because I had met someone in Costa Rica, and then we went together to Canada. And so we were like working on building sort of a life there. Wasn't really my best plan because I love to be not listen. There's nothing wrong with Canada, okay?
Okay.
Canada is a wonderful country. I just want to put this out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Canada's a wonderful country. I mean, shoot, my parents brought us there for a reason, you know?
Okay.
It's definitely better than being in a war-ridden country.
Mhm.
But I never got used to the cold, and I just didn't feel like I was living much of a life there. I'm very grateful that I was able to go to school, to get good paying jobs, to like all of those things. Amazing. The best friends I have in the world are there, you know? And so it's great. My family is still there.
Mhm.
But I always knew that I wanted to live somewhere where the sun shines more.
Right.
So it's always Latin America so far, especially that like I'm fluent in Spanish and it's easy for me to get around. It's easy for me to do business and
Mhm.
meet people, etc. So yeah, I knew as soon as Nicola had told us had told me, hey, you want to go to Paraguay and check it out? I said, yeah, why not? Like
Okay.
I'm done, you know, I have nothing to lose. I had a really good job before I came here, but it like I didn't feel fulfilled.
Mhm.
And I knew that I wanted to do more. And I know that like it's not to say that the grass is always greener on the other side, but it kind of is.
Okay.
It kind of is, you know,
Right.
especially when there's sun shining on it.
Yeah.
But I just really wanted to go do something new. Like that wasn't it for me. I really wanted to go and go back into that whole being an entrepreneur thing because doing the same thing over and over and over and in a job that wasn't very fulfilling was
Mhm.
not my thing. Yeah.
Okay. So,
You
so
know when you're like destined for more, you just don't
yeah,
know what that is, you go
yeah,
find out.
yeah. So it feels like you didn't think, or you were convinced that you can't just build up that fulfillment there, like in Canada, in those
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah,
Is that
no. There's no okay, I hate to say this because I know other people do have great lives in Canada. Like some of my friends are always with their friends,
Mhm.
but my closest friends, again, I always speak from my own experience.
Sure.
We all live very far and we all
Mhm.
have very different lives and different lifestyles. So for us to even see each other is kind of hard. It's like we might see each other maybe a few times a
Mhm.
year, if that. Whereas here, I'm constantly out with
Yeah.
people, friends, networking, going out, making business, and just interacting with everyone. I like that. I
Mhm.
don't have that there,
Mhm.
you know, especially that I was working from home on top of that. So it was
Yeah.
like even
Yeah.
worse.
Right. Mhm.
So
Right.
I feel like I'm having a life now, you know, and that's a big thing for me.
And
Yeah.
this time around coming to Paraguay, did you do your research? Going back to the question.
Let's see. Did I do my research?
More or I don't know.
No, because here's the thing. I
I guess you trusted
I did the
friend.
research by coming here and checking it out and
Okay.
realizing that there are actual opportunities and there are people that I want to be around, like to learn from or to interact with or to do business with and all of that. Yes, in that sense. But it wasn't like I did research for like exactly what I wanted to do because I actually thought that I would come here and do trading instead.
Mhm.
But I got into property management again, which I mean I have the experience, so it makes sense. But it's like there's just such a big opportunity here right now that it would just be dumb
Not to get
not to get
interested.
into
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree, 100%.
So
Yeah.
now I'm trying to do both things, but it's taken a whole lot of my focus, and it's just been really exciting.
Mhm.
It's been like I'm a lot happier
Yeah.
a
For
lot
sure, for
happier
sure,
than I was in Canada, that's for
for
sure.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, I love Canada. Great place. It's not for me right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you ever go back?
I would. I mean, my family's there. I'm hoping to go back for Christmas for sure.
But
I don't know
to
if I want
live,
to. Yeah.
like let's say if you would have the same or similar, obviously not the same, but a similar kind of communal setup with friends being close, family being close, and kind of living like a similar kind of lifestyle around people that love you and care about you and stuff like that. You can go out with.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
the safety.
would you,
Canada's very safe
and
too.
safety,
That's
right?
a big thing.
Right.
Canada's super safe, and people are super friendly and super loving
Yeah.
there too. So it's like, yeah. Canada has a great things. And like even like nature, like there are some beautiful places to go see.
Except the cold.
Except it's cold. And it's cold a lot of time. And I am very sensitive to the cold. So like I would love ideally I would like to live in like Latin America half the year and Canada the other half, like for summer. Summer is beautiful there. But I don't know if I'd want to live there all year round. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question.
I can just feel Canadian people hating me right now.
No,
I think they agree. I think they agree.
Yeah, and you know, all this is just, you know, your experience and subjective, but yeah, I think sharing your stories help. Like that's how we learn. That's how we expand our view of the, you know, the world and life in general.
I agree. I just really, really like no matter what, I believe that nobody should stay in the same environment their whole life. There's only so much you can learn from being around the same people in the same place.
Yeah.
Like you want to expand, and the only way to expand is to meet different people with different values and different, you know, worldviews. There's just so much out there. I really want to go to Asia, honestly, but I'm enjoying the ride here.
I mean, look, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know what life brings towards you. But yeah, actually, that's what I was to ask you. Like, for someone who wants to leave their old life behind and start over in another country. Obviously, in your case, it was like Costa Rica. Now it's Paraguay, but you know, it depends. What do they need to understand before they go? What do they need to?
Oh, they have to be very open-minded.
Okay.
For sure. They have to be open to new experiences. I am very hypocritical in that sense, especially when it comes to food, because I'm very picky. So I don't know how Asia is going to go for me in terms of food, but be very open-minded when it comes to people, cultures, worldviews, values. Like you have to.
Like you see those crickets on the street.
Oh
and,
my God,
that might be good. Like you could, you know, being open-minded.
That's the only thing. I'm gonna be open-minded to people and their cultures.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe not.
So food is like where we draw the boundaries. Like this yes, this no. I guess
certain textures and smells and things.
so, like culture and people.
Culture, people. I highly suggest not staying with just your own little community of expats. Like branch out. You know, get to know people. There are some really great people. I know I talk a lot about, oh, I had a few, you know, bad apples or whatever in my old business, but the one person that had my back, I mean, she's Costa Rican, and it's really important to have someone who will have your back and kind of guide you, someone who's actually like really, really good-hearted and like wants the best for you, that's always nice to have. And there's so many of them too. I've met some wonderful people in Costa Rica and Paraguay and in Peru and in Canada, everywhere. Like you just want to be very careful who you deal with, basically, anywhere you go. So that being open-minded, being open to like just don't shut yourself down. Be open-minded even to like the different versions of you that you can be. I don't know if that makes sense, but like don't limit yourself to the things that you can do elsewhere.
Like allow even that potential that you don't know about at the time to
Yeah.
happen and
Yeah, exactly. So many of the
blossom,
things
I
that
guess.
have happened outside on my travels, I never thought that I would be doing or would have changed so much, would have changed me so much as a person, or would have shed some light on things that I didn't know about myself. Like yeah, it's a lot. I can go into a whole other subject, but I am definitely a whole lot more like extroverted here than I was the last few years in Canada.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You didn't like
I was at
talk to
home
people
most
there?
of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's nice to have the old Alex back, that's for sure. And it's like on turbo.
Okay. Enhanced, I guess.
Enhanced, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And just like constantly learning. Like I think the best thing too is if you're young and everything and you're starting something new, like if you meet someone who can mentor you, even better. Because there are so many things that I didn't like. Again, I keep saying this. There are things that I didn't know I was capable of, and then I was, I can do this, I can do that. I learned, like you just learn. Just don't shut down, like be open to basically be open to everything except for the bad stuff.
Right.
Say no to drugs.
Okay, fair enough. There we go. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
There you go, kids.
There you
Yeah.
go, kids. No to drugs.
Right.
What else? There was something else I wanted to tell you.
So be open,
Be
allow
open.
yourself to blossom into things that you don't
Yeah.
expect to happen yet.
Yeah. Jump into opportunities, do the research though.
Right.
And yeah, get out of your bubble. Like don't stay with the same group of people. Go meet new people. Go branch out because there's always like there's always something that you'll end up learning about yourself by learning about other people and their cultures and their values. So it's part of your own transformation, your own getting to know yourself. So
why do you
nothing
think
bad about that.
Yeah, but like why do you think many people don't do that?
I think a lot of people too, because they don't speak the language oftentimes.
Okay.
So they just want to be around. Go learn it. Go learn it. Like people love when like you try to speak their language, they support you. They don't, I don't know. They get excited about it. I mean, like I speak Spanish and it's great and it opens so many doors. Honestly, it has opened so many doors for me. But I don't think I'll ever learn Guarani.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like,
Yeah.
Figure out what you can and can't do, but still like learn something because at the end of the day, like we're social creatures and we want to interact, want to bond. And if you're just bonding with the same few people in your little circle, like you're missing out. You're missing out on so much more. Like if you make a friend that's from here, they will take you places that nobody else knows about, right? Like you'll get to have other experiences. You'll get to have other adventures. And you never know.
So get outside of your bubble.
Get outside of your bubble. Don't get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Learn languages as much as you can wherever you go, even if just a little bit. I had decided that I wanted to go to Bali last year.
Okay.
And I got Indonesian on my Duolingo.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I learned a couple of words, but not as easy as Spanish, that's for sure. But I'm a big fan of people learning different languages when they go places because you'll miss out on certain opportunities and certain experiences if you're just sticking to your own little thing.
Yeah. Also, you said previously that old Alex came back.
Yeah,
Where did old Alex go? When did we lose her? I don't know.
No,
Where did she go?
This is going on the internet.
I mean, just like because like
It's just personal.
essentially it's a two-part question. Because after that, like I'm interested. Like, was conditions of traveling getting you outside of your comfort zone that allowed it to come back? All right.
Yeah,
Right.
that and being around people that could probably understand me or want to have the same lifestyle or the same. Because in Canada, it was aside from the fact that I was working from home and I wasn't going out much and the cold and all of that, and everybody's doing their own thing. It was you couldn't find. How can I say this? Here, the community that I've gotten into are all similar to me. They have similar interests, or they want to do like on like business and stuff, or maybe they're on the spiritual side, or like things that I can recognize, things that I can people that I can connect with. Whereas maybe in Canada, there aren't a lot of people like that, so it's hard to find those connections. So then the real me doesn't get to come out as much. If that makes sense. Yeah. Not that like I fake it or anything. Like I'm myself with everybody, but just to be able to connect on these different values and a bigger community, it makes you feel a lot more at home and a lot more like free and a lot more, so like basically find your tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think those people are always around you, or you need to go to a specific place to find them? Like, how do you
Oh, I'm
how
always
do you
at like
get them?
networking events.
Yeah.
But the thing is with me, it's like I'm a very friendly person. So when I do meet people at events, we end up being friends, not just
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll see you at the next event,
Right.
So we make plans, or we talk, we chat, everything. And yeah, apparently on the personal, I don't have much boundaries. I'll still, be silly and
Right.
and bring them into the inner Alex circle.
Right.
But I love it that way, Obviously, you have to be very careful all the time who you open up to, especially when you're traveling. You might, especially the ones that come and go, like you never see them again or whatever. But I love to make connections. So yeah,
Good.
it makes me happy. And I had thought truly and honestly, like I thought that I had become an introvert. Apparently not.
Yet you have not.
I have not. It was just the environment, it was the condition and the
That made you
circumstances. Yeah.
to, I guess, be more closed up
Yeah.
to.
And I think too, like, I'm not going to blame it on Canada or just that community. It was me too. Like, I was obviously going through certain things that I wanted to I shut myself out a little bit. And then I had, some limiting beliefs about like, no, I won't find anyone, or like that I can connect with, or I don't want to, like, I don't feel like I want to go out or whatever. And it's like anybody can tell you that whenever I'm home, I don't feel like going out, and as soon as I'm out, I don't want to go back home.
Right.
So
It's like
here,
it's like
I'm always out, so I never want to go.
yeah.
So this is me now. Like this is
It's like a kid going to
back.
summer camp.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I don't want to go, but I don't want to go.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I guess that adds to the list of things to do when you move to another country is find your community, find people who are like you, because you'll get the best version of yourself, basically, surrounded by the right people.
Yeah, yeah, and you do see it a lot. Like, I guess in our countries where you have all this infrastructure and I guess well-being to some extent when it comes to certain things, it kind of drives, like the modern life drives people to be more individualistic and lose that sense of because I think the desire is always there, right, to belong to a group of people, but somehow,
it's harder.
It's not there, yeah. And I understand, like sometimes you need to step outside your routine bubble to be able to find those people. Because if you do the same things every day and you hang out with the same people, you might not find those people there.
Exactly. Right? Find hobbies and other different communities around you.
Also, so yeah, in this show, I'm doing this thing, as I mentioned previously, where the previous guest can leave a question for you as a surprise question without knowing who you are.
Oh, no.
And this is our last question. And the question left for you was that how important is to have a person or partner next to you when living abroad? Like, does having that person make life abroad easier or more difficult in your experience?
A personal partner? Like
A personal partner. So like a partner as in a relationship or a person as in maybe a friend helping you out and stuff.
oh,
Because you,
it's
I guess, had
def
that experience.
yeah, it's definitely helpful. Um, Usually when I travel just to visit, I usually go places by myself just because I'm usually running away from everything.
Right.
So it's nice to be alone and that quiet and my own space. But definitely if like if you're wanting to go somewhere new and you have a friend there, and if they've gone there before you, at least they know the lay of the land. So that makes it a lot more helpful and a lot easier. And now I also came with someone and we started a business together. So it definitely helps. Like you kind of play off each other's vibes and everything wherever you go. So it's easier to sort of meet people. It's easier to go places. It's a little bit more like for us as women, I guess. It's a lot safer if you're going with although I don't really go to many unsafe places.
Mhm.
I have in the past, again, when I was naive.
Right.
We know better now. Yeah, it does help. It's not going to deter you. Like if you go alone, it might be a little harder, maybe. If you're very open like I am, it might not be super hard, but it definitely helps to have somebody to sort of lean on
Mhm.
when you're abroad. Yeah, for sure.
So you don't feel like it kind of holds you back from meeting new people and just sticking to them?
No,
Okay.
I mean, maybe if it was a romantic partner and they don't want to go out, yeah, sure.
Okay, fair enough.
But no, I haven't had issues. And we
Yeah.
don't like and oftentimes like I we don't always go to the same places together. So there's always you're a person, you can go
Yeah,
wherever
you're free to do it.
you're free to do
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah, I
you
guess with a
want.
partner
But I
it
guess
could be different, I guess.
but I guess what you mean is that like if you already have somebody, it's less likely that you'd be pushed to look to
As
meet new
much.
people as much. Yeah. I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that, but unless you're like me and my close friends where we actually just want to go meet people, so we encourage each other to go out more. So yeah. I
Okay.
guess depends on who you're with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess in a relationship form, like you went back to Canada with your Costa Rican boyfriend, but I guess that was different because obviously you were going home.
Yeah, we're
Like
going
you
home.
knew how.
I was the one who was showing him the new
Right.
places, right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Fair.
He ended up actually getting to know Canada more than I do because of the
Yeah?
work that he does. He used to go out more than me, and I was like, oh,
Okay,
interesting.
that's interesting. I mean,
That's interesting. Not that he would go out like to meet people more than me. He would go out to different job sites around different cities.
Okay.
So he got to know more cities that I didn't
Wow.
know. So that was interesting. I think that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Or do you think also maybe it was more exciting for him because it was like a new country
New
and
country,
yeah,
exactly,
okay.
exactly.
So he likes the cold
take
more
it, oh,
than you do.
it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so
Being from
weird.
Costa Rica,
He's from
that's
Costa Rica,
interesting,
and he
isn't it?
gets so happy about the cold. I'm like,
Yeah.
are you? Anyway,
All right.
I'm the exact opposite. I said, okay, well, enjoy Canada. I am going back to Latin America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I
So
think
like
we all always want the opposite of what we have.
yeah. That's what I wanted to say is that it seems like you found more fulfillment like on this side of the world and he found more
And he
fulfillment
found more
else.
from
So it's
exactly.
it's maybe not the place, it's just what I guess we need at the time or what
Yeah.
we really want to experience.
I agree. He wanted that lifestyle there where like, you can do a lot more than he could do in Costa Rica and I feel like I can do a lot more here than I can in Canada. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So well, we're both happy, so that's all that counts.
That's what matters, for sure.
Yeah.
So to finish off, what question would you like to leave for the next guest?
Oh my.
It's your turn now.
Ooh.
Anything, like it doesn't have to be. It can be about Paraguay. It doesn't have to be about Paraguay. It can be about just life in general, coming from your wisdom.
From my wisdom, oh my. Don't know if I'd call it wisdom. Who are you doing next?
I'm not telling you.
I would like the next person because I'm gonna watch the next one.
Hopefully. All right.
My question would be, because I really do want to check out Asia, what would be the spot that they would recommend best?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just for me.
Right. Extra
Yeah,
information. Good.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Well, Alex, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
I understand, obviously, like this is your first time doing it and you're a bit nervous, but I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for you that you actually came and you could do this. So thank you so much. Yeah, and look, if it goes well, we might as well do in the next episode more about Paraguay,
Cool.
if that's
Oh,
fine
like
with you.
I come back?
Yeah, I mean, you're a good guest, so like why not?
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun.
Okay, good,
This
good.
was fun. Thank you. I really enjoyed this.
We have reached the end. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you want the best tools out there when it comes to living abroad, be it traveling or actually settling down in a specific country, we have put together a free living abroad toolbox with all the services you need, from banking all the way to eSIMs, to make your life abroad much less stressful and chaotic, the way it should be. Also, if you like the content that we are doing on this channel, please consider subscribing, hit the bell icon, hit the like button if you like what you've seen. And if you want to check out our next episode, you can go right here. So check it out.